Welcome to my home garden. Today I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be doing over the next week or so. A lot of it's just tidying up, so if you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, if you could please do so, because you'll get lots of helpful hints and tips from my home garden, my allotment and also my home kitchen. This time of year it's really starting to get a little bit cold, so I'm having to start to move things around, and I'm also doing quite a lot of tidying up as well. So first of all, one of the things I'm doing in my greenhouse is I'm earthing up my Christmas potatoes. As you can see, I've already started here. I'm just using a little bit of earth from the garden. So, you know, like you earth them up when you've got them in your allotment, you do exactly the same in this situation as well. So I'm just using a little bit from the garden there, just topping it up. There you go, a bit more. Might top a little bit more up in a couple of weeks. See how it's going. Obviously keep them watered. I'm quite lucky, I've got a couple of missing panes and nature does it for me, which is quite handy. So the other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be moving my chilies and peppers into my summer house because it's going to start to get quite cold. My summer house is probably the warmest outdoor building I've got. My summer house has got some nice windows in it and things generally do quite well in there. So I'm going to be lifting those from here into my summer house. But before I do that, I need to move what's already on the shelving in there. So if we move over to the summer house, as you can hear, my chickens are clucking away this morning. So I'll have a video about my chickens if you would like to watch that as well. As we come over, I've been drying out my onions on my trays and they've done really well on the shelving in here, but they're really nicely dried out now. Some people hang them up, some people put them in types. Personally, I've got a few trays, I just put them in when they're done, like so. So I've been obviously eating these already, so I did really well this year. I've got some really good sized onions, so I'm really pleased with that. So I'm going to basically put all these on the trays and just store them in the back of the summer house and use them over the winter. And I've still got some garlic left in there as well, which I will be gradually munching through. And I'll put the rest of these on later. But basically all these will go on the trays, and then the peppers and other things I'll put on the shelving in here to keep them warm. So as we move over, I've still got some of my pumpkins and squashes on my patio, and I've still got a few up the allotment. Now I'm really going to start to move those soon, because if it gets really frosty they could damage. So I put mine in my conservatory. It's a cool place, and I put them all around the windowsill. Absolutely perfect. I've done it for many years and they store really, really well. Like I've said before, don't stack them, you know, don't store them like a sack of potatoes in the back of your shed, because some of them will go mouldy. The good thing about putting them around a windowsill is that you can keep an eye on them, but you wouldn't want them in a really hot room. So that's why I store mine in my conservatory, because we only really have the heating on ever so occasionally in there in the winter, and we don't use it that much. So it's perfect for storing things like that. And I keep my potatoes and my apples in there as well, because when you store something like this, or when you store anything, come to think of it, you've got to think about vermin, and you know, you don't want to go in there and find out that something else has eaten all your lovely potatoes or your apples, you know, or your pumpkins. So I always keep things in the conservatory because I know that that's a really safe place for them. So another job I'm doing is my tomatoes. So if I just grab my scissors, so I've got to start pulling up my tomatoes because they are well and truly finished now. So I've got a pair of scissors just to cut the string off, like that. It's one of the very unglamorous jobs. I've had a fantastic crop of tomatoes this year. I have had a little bit of blight towards the end of the season, but that's not unusual. Virtually everybody gets a bit of blight towards the end of the season, and it generally doesn't cause too much harm. As you can see, I've lost a few tomatoes, but not too many, so I'm quite happy with the crop I've had. All I've got to do is just cut them off and then just pull them up and get rid of them. Now some people do various things with their tomatoes, plants when they finish with them. I just put them on my composter. Some people think that the blight would come back the following year. The fact is, blight is naturally present in the soil anyway, and it's more the conditions that make it cause problems. Like this year, we had conditions which made blight more prevalent. So, you know, burning them really isn't going to make any difference. It really isn't, and there's some great people out there that could explain it probably better than I can, but I will just be bundling these up in a bag, taking them up my allotment and putting them on my composter. So another job I'm going to be doing over the next few days is giving my wild rocket a little bit of a haircut. As you can see, it's gone completely crazy, so I will just be giving it a really good trim and a really good haircut. I won't be digging it up because all the time it's still there and there's still leaves on it. I'm still eating it. It is quite strong and peppery, much stronger than the stuff you get in the shops, but it's still a really good crop for me to be eating in my salads. So there we go. So I really hope that this has given you some hints and tips and some stuff to do over the weekend. I know I'm going to be personally very busy with all the jobs I've got to do. If you've got any questions or queries, then please, as always, please do put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them.